So today this is the Militaries Across Time by Jason, Tay, and
Jeffrey Lin.
and we're doing ancient Mesopotamia, the Mongols, medieval Europe, and North Korea today. First, we have the Akkadian Empire, which is ruled by Sargon the Great, the king of Mesopotamia, the world's first major ruler. So from 2334 to 2279 major rule, Sargon's rule. So in Mesopotamia, war was a daily part of life. The empire was the first major empire in Mesopotamia, which set the standard for future governments in Mesopotamia. Sargon uses name, which it meant king is legitimate, as like his motto for his rule. Using his power, he went on to conquer all of southern Mesopotamia and led his military expeditions to conquer most of the region, up to Turkey. Nearly every civilization and king at that time believed in expansionism, which is justified that like they were commanded by gods to conquer cities. So, according to legend, Sargon was a self-made man of humble origins. He was a gardener before he became the ruler. So, during his life, he was at first he was found as a baby floating in a basket on the river, whom he was picked up by a servant of a kingdom of Kish. So the main event that brought him to supreme power was the defeat of Lazagasi of Uruk, which is this guy depicted in stone on the right-hand side picture, whom was a Sumerian king. The Sumerian king had united the states of Summer by defeating each in turn of the other city-states. So Sargon became king over all the southern Mesopotamia, and finally in 2334 BC he persuaded the Kish army to become loyal to him and went over the king of Kish. How did he control his military? He put all his soldiers in every city whom had direct and fast, efficient contact with him if anything had
So
arose.
the way the Mesopotamians fought was were big on the bow and arrow and javelins, but they were also, since this was a while ago, they were pretty primitive with their weapons, and they hadn't yet realized how to use steel. So most of their weapons, like their spears, axes, daggers, were of copper, iron, and stone. A fun fact actually is that they rarely use swords, which I found was surprising. But they use horses a lot and chariots, like this picture shown.
The Mongol military rule from the 1100s to the 1400s. So the main rulers of the Mongols. So the founder was Genghis Khan, which he ruled through a policy of stepped diplomacy, which he used ways such as killing opposition to gain power, like his rival clans or his relatives. So after he died because of injuries in battle, and he had fallen in a horse, which was in 1227 CE. So then rule was split between his sons and grandsons, which as known as his main sons. So first it was Ogadai clan, which under his central control, the Mongols made further inroads into China, which they overwhelmed Korea and starting success in the rest. So then it was the Golden Horde. The Golden Horde is the name given by Russians to the invading Mongols who swept throughout Russia. Then finally it was Kublai Khan who established rule in China during the Yuan dynasty, which from left to right it was the Ogai Khan, the Golden Horde, and Kublai Khan in these pictures.
So for the weaponry that they used, the Mongols had the normal weapons that every soldier received, which included the battle axe, the scimitar, which is shown in the picture, and lances and 2 bows, one that's light and easy to fire from horseback, and one that's heavy and longer range that you can use on ground. And the Mongols didn't start with all these weapons. They started off while they just came out of the steppes with bows and arrows and horses, and they kind of picked up all the rest of their weapons from the places they conquered, and including stuff like stirrups for their horses, which helped them a lot. And as shown in the picture of that Mongol guy, he also has a shield and his horse's armor and everything. As I said before, with the stirrups, they had a much better control over their horses. They were more agile than ever, could gallop close to the enemy and release hails of arrows and wheel away without getting hurt. And they adapted to many new things that they encountered while fighting that they didn't have in Mongolia. Like castles, they learned how to do sieges and different diseases that they encountered. And so they adapted to all of this and developed fighting strategies basically on the fly. And so now here is a video of the Mongols while fighting, and this kind of shows how they fought. Alright, so as you can see right now, here are the Mongol horsemen riding into battle. They have those twin swords, those scimitars on their backs. Oh, they're lining up in a line, and so this is kind of how one of their fighting strategies. And these guys actually don't have bows, but you'll see later where the bows are. Yeah, so they're just literally running straight at the enemy. See, they're actually really outnumbered right now, but even they're still going at it. Lots of courage, running through, and here they go. Here they go. They're carrying their swords, not like holding it out in front, but to the side. So as you can see right now, they can just slash, and literally, yeah, he's just holding it straight, and people are just running into his sword, and it doesn't get knocked away from him because of the way it's holding it.
Very effective, guys.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Sorry about the blood if anyone is affected by that, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, so now we've skipped forward a little bit, and now there is the horsemen have pulled back, and that there are some reserve Mongol forces that have been hiding. This guy shoots one arrow as a kind of indicator, and look at that bunch of lines of archers just pop up out of nowhere, and every single person gets shot. And so that's a pretty cool Mongol strategy. They completely caught the enemy by surprise. Good coordination, and the Mongols won. Yay.
Hello, this is the medieval times from the 476 to 1500 CE. So, as we have in medieval Europe, there is a lot of many divisions and rivalry in kingdoms. And they had a main rule of feudalism, which as shown in the right hand picture, the kings to the lords to the knights and serfs, which they all pay taxes to the king. And yeah, in medieval Europe, they used chivalry, which is which they used as a warrior knight code, similar to the warrior codes of the samurais. So in the later Middle Ages, knights adopted the code, which required them to be brave, loyal, truthful to the word, and protect the unprotected, and basically fight for their local kingdoms and for their lords and kings.
So for medieval warfare, when there was a large-scale battle, and you organized one of these, but when there was, it was called a pitched battle, and they used infantry and cavalry. And the infantry started off by forming pike lines, which is just lines of people with spears facing the enemy, if you've seen in the movie or so. And the cavalry came in the back. And so how an average battle went down was the infantry would meet the infantry on the field and just try to poke at each other, try to make one of them back down. And once one side did break down the other, the cavalry would charge through the gap and use the confusion to wreak havoc to the enemy and kill as many of their enemy soldiers as possible. And so for medieval warfare, cavalry were instrumental to victory, and often a battle could just be decided before the actual battle happened just by who had more cavalry, because they were that important. And basically these battles continued until one side completely retreated. But retreating is also a really bad idea because cavalry is faster than running people. So just when one side retreated, it would just be a slaughter for the other side. Slaughter by the other side.
The weapons that the medieval soldiers used. So these included, but not limited to, the polearm, battle axe, mace, billhook, caltrop, flail, halberd, longbow, crossbow, pike, poleaxe, quarterstaff, spear, warhammer, and later on, the pistol and gun.
Right, so as I said before, sieges were quite common compared to large pitched battles. And the medieval people were very good at sieging. And they also good at defending against sieging. They built a bunch of castles with moats and stone brick walls that were giant and everything. And but every single time new fortifications were created, there were new strategies to destroy the people protecting them, and the people attacking were usually knights and infantry. The knights would consist of rich people, like noblemen, and infantry were the peasants, like the farmers. And both were actually very important in the way of
Modern North Korea, which is known as the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which this is the flag of the People's Army. The leadership is under Kim Jong-un, the third generation of the Kim family and the current ruler. He is also the supreme commander of the Korean People's Army, which is founded on February 8th of 1948. So the divisions within the People's Army. So first we have the workers, peasant red guards, which is shown on the flag on the very right hand top upper hand corner. Then we have the People's Army Ground Force and the People's Army Navy, which is shown with the flag on the bottom. Today, North Korea has over 7 million soldiers in reserve, as shown with this picture from one of their anniversaries of the founding of Korea. Next, Korea have almost little to unemployment because it has a policy of the largest standing military in the world. So now let's see that as a bird's eye view. An example during the parades which glorifies the power of the state in the anniversary of the Workers' Party. See how much people there are in the parade. Look at that. That's like 50 people just in that little van in the corner.
North Korea is the fourth largest military in the world, behind the US, Russia, and China. Most people serve in the army after the completion of high school. Men averagely serve for 10 years, and women serve for an average of 7. Fun fact, guys, citizens of North Korea may only own a motor vehicle if they are a military or governmental official, guys. Korea has over 1,000 missiles, which is armed at the dangerously armed DMZ at the border with North Korea and at its coast on its peninsula. Today, the North Korean army is composed of more than 1.2 million active soldiers on duty at hand at all times. North Korea has a reputation of military first, where they believe that they need to arm themselves with nuclear bombs for its ultimate security against the nations in the West. Next, in its military training, soldiers in the military face malnutrition, as shown with this North Korean soldier who is kicking down a goat in the rural countryside, and hunger due to the lack of food availability, and they also have rigorous training, as shown in this harsh conditions military run in the left hand picture. They have harsh military training for their obedience to its.
So, for the Korean Air Force, they have over 1,300 aircraft. And most of their aircraft they get, they enlist for Russia's help, and also China's help to build and supply these. Like, for example, the two on screen, which is the Russian MiG-28 fish bed, and the Mil Mi-8, which is the helicopter. And so the newest plane that they've gotten was obtained in 1999, so they haven't had any new models since then.
So if they fought us, they would be creamed easily by the big military force by the United States of America. Guys, in this video, it's from their 70th anniversary of the founding of the Workers' Party of North Korea, and they as shown, they show their supreme power with missiles on military trucks and tanks, which they show their supreme military. Oh, look at that! It's their outdated airplanes, military airplanes. Okay, so this is in the background. We have propaganda messages, which are well performed by the citizens of North Korea.
And the reason we wanted you guys to know about this stuff is, well, first of all, it's good to know about, just good to be educated in general, but also the reason we wanted to teach about these militaries in ages past is because now, if you ever watch a movie about ages past, like the medieval ages or the Mongols, you'll be able to understand it better. And that's always good. So yeah, thank you for watching our final project. We hope you guys enjoyed.